XSSR Music Academy.
Hi there, my name is Mars. I'm a founder and owner of Russian music label called XSSR Music, a home for some of the best breakbeat musicians across the world. As a producer, I've got over 30 releases on established breaks and dubstep labels. Also, I'm a founder of XSSR Music Academy, based in Russia. You can find more detailed information about me at the official website www.marsofficial.com. Today I will teach you one of the ways of creating a bass line. I use this method in almost all of my tracks. The core of the method is that the bass line consists not of one or two instruments, but rather a combination of various samples. As a result, we get a solid and interesting bass line. This technique works especially great in genres like breaks or dubstep. In this video, I decided to show you the creating of a dubstep bass line. For the beginning, we'll need to create an interesting bass sound, which will be the basis of our bass line. One of my favorite synths currently is Massive by Native Instruments. Before creating this sound, we have to decide what exactly do we want to get. For example, if we want to have a simple wobble bass, then we will be using appropriate types of synthesizer generators, impulse or sine wave. I often receive emails with people asking me to reveal how I create my bass lines. In this video tutorial I will tell you how I get that sound. After I decided with the type of sound, I started creating the bass on the synthesizer. For that we need to load Massive in an empty channel and create an empty preset. In the file menu we choose New File. The Massive synth consists of several sections: generators, oscillator 1, 2, 3, filters, LFO, generator of low frequency that we need to be using for modulation, effects, FX1 and 2 and others. Let's start with the first generator, OSC1. Here I usually put the low frequency component of the bass. We can start with basic, for example curve, square saw. Knob WT position regulates the balance of the envelope. In the left position we hear impulse wave. In the right, a saw. Appropriately changing the knob position, we will be hearing the mix of the two envelopes. I prefer this generator to create a fat, solid bass. After we have chosen the low frequency component, we can move to generator OSC2. Usually I tune off the first one while setting up OSC2, so nothing distracts me to making the sound I want. I suggest you to experiment in this section. For example, I can choose an envelope called Screamer. Now I can adjust the WT position knob again. You can hear straight away the sound depends on the knob position. Later on we will be modulating this knob to get a very interesting sound. Now we can experiment with OSC3 generator. Let's choose envelope Mellowfant as an example. Moving knob WT position, we can change the type of the envelope. Now let's listen to what we get if we turn on both OSC2 and OSC3 generators. Yes, pretty interesting sound indeed. The next step is modulation. Today I want to tell you about several basic principles of using modulation. With that knowledge you will be able to get pretty great results with modulation of your own. In sections, envelopes and LFO we choose the type of an envelopes that will be making the modulation. Here I will be describe the usage of LFO. Using all LFO generators you can modulate any parameters of generators, filters, etc. Go to the LFO5 tab. First of all, we have to choose the wave type. Sine wave should work fine in our case. Now let's try the modulation in action. Moving the icon to the second generator at the WT position knob. Modulation will play a role of automatic rotation of this knob. As a result, we should get a sound like this. Now, with the pressed left mouse button moving up or down, we get the range of the modulation. The top part of our modulation sine wave LFO5 will be a green round, and the bottom part a grey one. We get this sound as a result. Now we can choose the frequency of the modulation. Using the rate knob we will be changing that frequency. Usually choosing the frequency is not too convenient though. It's simpler to choose a frequency. For that we need to press the sync button. Instead of the rate knob we get a ratio one. It's really handy to choose a frequency, for example 1/16. I will make similar manipulation to OSC3 generator. As a result, our sound will be like this. Now you can turn on the OSC1 generator, which is responsible for the low frequency component. I'll try to experiment with the other generators, knobs and modulation. To have all our generators modulated will be the same frequency. I will be using just same LFO5, but now I want to modulate the volume. The same way as before, we set the modulation for the amp knob, which replies for volume. As a result, our volume changed with the same frequency. I suggest making the modulation of the intensivity knob. Now let's listen to what we've got when all three oscillators are turned on. Well, we've got something close to a real wobble bass. I want to note that we've got this bass without using standard techniques like processing the bass lines with filters.